What's up, my guys, and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Cody, and you know what time of year it is. That's right, it's tax season, baby. So, fellas, you gotta be nice to it till at least after Mother's Day. Come on now. But yeah, we got us a big week. It's WrestleMania week, so you know we got about 1,900 pay-per-views coming your way. You're gonna be hearing my annoying ass all week. Hey, how you doing? So sit back, relax, try to enjoy this bullshit I call a show. Now, what we do here on the channel, the Wrestling Report Card, is I take a wrestling show, I break down each match, I give it a letter grade, and at the end, I tally them son bitches up to get that show its own report card. So tonight, just 5 days until WrestleMania, we got the go home edition of Monday Night Raw. You got Brock Lesnar and the 7'3" Nigerian giant Omos hitting the scales as they have their official weigh-in ahead of their colossal matchup. And then in the main event, you got the battle of the unbeaten records. It's Cody Rhodes, it's Solo Sikoa, and yes, there was a winner. You also had Seth Rollins, Mysterio, and Gunther in their respective matches. You had Trish Stratus and Lita in the house. So yeah, it's a packed episode. Go ahead, buckle your seatbelts, and let's get to grading, my guy. So we start the show off tonight with Miz TV, and his guests tonight are Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch, less than a week ahead of their triple threat match at WrestleMania against Damage Control. Now, the Miz was out here asking some phenomenal questions until Becky started poking fun of his little package. Then Damage Control's music hit, out came Bayley and the girls. These 6 ladies went on to exchange pleasantries, and hell yeah, brother, for that little opening promo right there, I'm gonna slap a B- on that son bitch, and I cannot wait until that triple threat match where you got Becky tagging with Lita and Trish. But before we get to that triple threat, next up, Becky Lynch will take on Iyo Sky, mano, brother. Now, with Trish, Lita, Becky, and Dakota all ringside, Iyo and Becky were in the ring just throwing down, I tell you what. But after a missed moonsault from Sky, Bex was able to hit the manhandle slam, and ain't nobody kicking out of that, my guy. Bex picks up the 1, 2, 3 in what these kids call a banger. Now, I'm gonna slap an A- on that son bitch, and we gonna go from Becky over to her worst half as Seth Rollins is in action, one-on-one with Mustafa Ali, and Jesus Christ, Seth just curb stomped that boy back to 205 Live. I tell you what, I mean, Ali, you should have been talking shit, my guy. Seth picks up the 1, 2, 3 in quick fashion. Now, after the match, Seth got on the mic and said, if I can't beat Logan Paul at WrestleMania, he's not the joke anymore. I am. But before walking off, Seth Rollins said, Phoenix, sing my damn song. And when Seth Rollins said, sing the damn song, oh, you sing it and you sing it good, my guy. That was a good little squash match right there. I'm gonna slap a B- on that son bitch. But we gotta keep it moving, because up next, ahead of their huge matchup at WrestleMania, you got the official weigh-in between Brock Lesnar and Omos. First up on the scales is the 7'4" Nigerian giant Omos, and he's officially coming into this match at a whopping 410 pounds. And MVP said it best. He said, Brock, you a bad son bitch, but even you can't suplex or even F5 Omos. And right as he steps off the scale, Brock Lesnar ain't waiting for no introduction. You hear the infamous riff, and out comes the beast, Denim Dan himself, Brock Lesnar. But he wasn't here to step on the scales. Hell no, brother. Brock got up in the ring and started going at it with Omos. And I mean, that son bitch was flying around. I think we all forget how athletic Brock Lesnar actually is. Now, at a weigh-in, instead of stepping on the scales, to weigh in, Brock Lesnar just picked that son bitch up and started to swing it around. And I'm talking about one of them old school ones. But when he started to swing it around, Omos landed with a huge boot, sending Brock Lesnar out of the ring. And for the second time, Omos stands tall after sending Brock Lesnar flying out of the ring. Now, that was good, a lot better than the first segment they had. I'm gonna slap a B on that son bitch, and even though this still been a little bit awkward, I cannot wait until that giant matchup at WrestleMania, because you know some wild shit's gonna go down. Speaking of some wild shit, next up, we go over to the tag team division as we have an 8-man tag match as we got the Street Profits teaming up with Ricochet and Braun Strowman to take on the Viking Raiders and Alpha Academy. Thank you. Now, this weekend, these 4 teams will compete in a fatal 4-way tag match at WrestleMania, but tonight, they gotta work together. Now, after an all-out brawl between all 8 guys, at one point, you had Braun Strowman, Otis, and Ibar in the ring, and by God, we got some big sweaty men in the ring slapping meat. However, we get to the end, and after a massive spine buster from Strowman, Ricochet climbed up on his partner's shoulders. He hit the swanton, and if that wasn't crazy enough, as soon as Ricochet rolled off, in came Tez off the top rope, flying over to 6ix9ine Strowman, and poor Eric, because you guessed it, ain't nobody kicking out of that, my guy. Those four pick up the 1, 2, 3, but remember, at WrestleMania, it's going to be every team for themselves, and I got a feeling that we're going to see one, if not two teams split up at WrestleMania in that match. However, for what we just watched, I'm going to slap an A- on that sumbitch. Then for some reason up next, Austin Theory decided to give us all COVID PTSD when he cut a promo in an empty arena ahead of his matchup at WrestleMania against John Cena. And remember, that is going to be the opening match, night 1, Saturday, so make sure you on time for that. Up next, we jump back over to the women's division where you got Chelsea Green teaming up with Sonya Deville now as they're taking on Mia Yim and Candice LeRae, where the winning team will earn a spot in the women's Fatal 4-Way Tag match at WrestleMania. Now, I'm sure Carmella is somewhere confused as hell because her girl Chelsea Green actually picked up the W and is now going to WrestleMania with her new friend Sonya Deville, and I don't know, that was confusing. I hope Carmella ain't injured or nothing like that, so I ain't gonna speak too much. I'm gonna slap a C- on that sumbitch, and we gonna move on because we're set to have Rey Mysterio in action as he's taking on Damian Priest. But first, after Rey finally put his hands on that boy, that sack of shit Dom Mysterio came out and once again was flapping his gums. What? About his pops. It says, what kind of father hits his own son? He even went on to say, I wish Eddie was my real father and that you never existed. Jesus, I gotta admit though, Dom came through with a solid promo here, like him or not. That sumbitch picks up mad heat, and hey, that's the name of the game, my guy. He's still a sack of shit though. Anyways, Rey Mysterio's music hit, out he came, and it's time for him and Dane to get after it. And how Rey can still do what he does after 25 years in the game is insane. After surviving a massive clothesline from Priest, Rey was able to answer with a crazy Hurricane Rana. Then boom, he hit the 619. But as he went up for the splash, that sack of shit ex-con Dom yanked his pops down from the ropes, ending the match in a DQ. Then after the match, Dom and Priest went on to lay a smackdown on Rey, but then one of my favorite intros hit. Out came Legado del Fantasma to save the day. And maybe I'm just crazy, but am I smelling a little LWO 2.0 for me somehow? I mean, if that does, that would be dope. But for that right there, I'm gonna slap a B+ on that sumbitch. Next up, we got the Intercontinental Champion Gunther in action as he's set to go one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler. And y'all know Dolph is my guy, and he can show out, show off in the ring. But Gunther done gave that sumbitch them Kofi Kingston titties with the chops he was landing. I tell you what. Now, after an absolute mauling, Gunther was able to hit the last symphony, and ain't nobody kicking out of that, my guy. The champ picked up the 1, 2, 3. Then after the match, Gunther got on the mic and sent the warning over to Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, who will both be in that triple threat match, which will be an absolute banger against Gunther for his Intercontinental title. Now, for that match right there, again, another great squash match. I'm gonna slap a B on that sumbitch, and that's enough time for the talk because it's time for the main event. It's the battle of the unbeatens. You got the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes going up against the enforcer of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa. And after continuously telling Solo that he's not ready, Solo came out and was laying a smackdown on Cody Rhodes to start the match. But then Cody started finding his groove. First is a scoop power slam, disaster kick, followed by a Cody cutter. Then boom, Cody landed the crossroads, but somehow Solo kicked out. Then as Cody went for his moonsault, he spent a little too much time flapping his gums. What? Over at Paul Heyman. What? Which allows Solo to get out the way. Then after a second Cody cutter, the Usos music hit. Down came Jimmy and Jay, and this distraction allowed Solo to take advantage, and by God, he hit the spinning Solo, but it wasn't enough. Next thing you know, Sammy and Kevin Owens came out, and ahead of their tag team match at WrestleMania, the Usos, KO and Sammy, started brawling all the way backstage into the Gorilla. Now back in the ring, Cody took advantage. He landed his second crossroads, and ain't nobody kicking out of that, my guy. Cody Rhodes picks up the 1, 2, 3, putting an end to Solo Sikoa's record and continuing to build momentum ahead of his matchup against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But that's where all this is, because we all know what's going to happen. Roman Reigns is going to smash Cody Rhodes and send that sumbitch back to AEW. Hell, he'll probably send him back with the face paint, my guy. So for that main event right there, I'm going to slap a B+ on that sumbitch. And y'all already know I'm going to piss y'all off if y'all are Cody Rhodes fans. Hell, I'm a Cody Rhodes fan, but we all know at the end of the day, y'all the twos and we the ones. Well, we've come to that part of the show where we got all the grades in. Now let's take a look at that report card. After tallying everything up, For the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw ahead of WrestleMania 39, we came out with the final letter grade of a B, that's right, an 85%. Now, compared to the go-home shows in the Vince McMahon late days, as of like the last 5 years, this was well done by Triple H, so shout out to you. Also want to give a shout out to my guy, OG Bobby Knifehawk, for the beat. Shout out to all 13 of y'all still tuning in. Hey, that's one up from last week, baby. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You can like, comment how goofy I look. Other than that, I'm your host, Cody. I'm going to sign off. So with that being said, y'all stay safe and have a nice day.